we're ready to go here on the tip between Bryson Lucas and Pittman, and Pittman goes ahead and wins that with ease. And West Virginia State will start out with the basketball. Thames with it now at the top of the key, guarded by Jermaine Hall. Looking for somebody, goes to the high post to Pittman. Pittman working, fakes the handoff, looking around for a pass. Gets it back to Thames. Thames working the pick and roll with Pittman. Thames on the drive, goes up with the left, loses it, and Bryson Lucas comes up with it for the Vulcans.
Yeah, big early defensive stop, something that the Vulcans need to get going on here early, because their defense leads to some great transition offense, and we've seen them kill teams all season in the transition.
Whitehead with it at the top of the key. Gets it over to McClurg, and McClurg's going to get a screen from Collins. He's going to find Collins on the roll. Collins gets it up and going. No good, misses the tip as well. He's going to fake the third shot, loses it, and West Virginia State going to come back the other way. Ball almost gets out of reach of Nate Mims there as he does pick it up. Mims with it, gets it over to Thames, and Thames going to set up the offense with just about half of the shot clock left. Pittman with it now on the post. Zion Collins doing his best to hold his ground. Jermaine Hall came in for the double team, which left Nate Mims wide open under the basket for the two-point bucket.
Yeah, I mean, Pittman's been great all season. He was all MEC first team, was named to the Atlantic Region second team this season, and showed off right there, got double team, made a great pass in the post.
Right there, they're going to call an illegal screen on senior Zion Collins here early on. You could tell he's a little bit frustrated with that call.
Yeah, and we've seen the Vulcans get into some foul trouble early on. We saw it throughout the season, but especially during the playoffs. And that game against Gannon, a lot of players picking up some quick fouls early on, so something that the Vulcans definitely want to limit on here today.
They seem to go through Pittman every time on offense, making sure he touches it at least once early on. That's what they did there, getting him in the high post. And now the cross-court pass to Arthur Cox. He's going to drive with the left hand, and he'll finish over Bryson Lucas with some authority. Collins with it now. He's going to take the mid-range jumper, and he connects, getting the Vulcans on the board here early on.
And that's what we've seen from California is if you don't get back on defense after you make a basket, they're sprinting down the floor.
Right there, Pittman just loses on the drive. Comes off the backboard. Lucas comes down with it, and the foul on Arthur Cox.
I mean, that's a smart foul that Cox took because Zion Collins was on the other side of the court completely alone. So Lucas, a very great passer, averaging 2.5 assists per game on the season for a big man. I mean, all he has to do is look his head up, and he can see Zion Collins on the other side. So Cox just took one for the team.
It's one thing the Vulcans love doing is their deep outlet passes to lead to some transition buckets. And right there, they were doing their best to stop California from being able to do that as McClurg gets the screen from Collins. Collins fakes the three, back to McClurg. The pump fake, the mid-range floater, and he connects from the side of the basket. Tough shot there from McClurg.
I mean, Nate calls him the Morgantown magician for a reason. I mean, he can shoot it from anywhere on the court, and not something that we've seen him add this season is that mid-range floater. And I mean, as much as he's done this season, he's been able to knock it down more often than not.
Pittman with it now. He's going to take the pull-up two. No good, and the rebound by Collins. He loses it, and all of a sudden, Mozzie Thames comes up with the rebound and the finish. Whitehead with the pull-up two.
And that's something that the Vulcans missed a lot of this season. Whitehead Jr. missed a little bit of time all throughout, and he's just such an elite scorer for only being 5'11".
Pull-up three there from Nate Mims is no good. The lefty wasn't able to get his shot down. As Zion Collins turns it over, and Pittman finishes at the other end, giving them the lead once again.
Yeah, I mean, Collins this season averages 3.5 turnovers a game, and I mean, he's great when he has the ball, but there are some times where he is a little bit sloppy with it. That's something that West Virginia State has been able to exploit so far.
And Donald Whitehead with the three-point bucket and the foul, something they missed dramatically in that Gannon PSAC championship game. And he's going to go to the line and try to convert a 4-point play.
Yeah, he's a 38% three-point shooter on the season, but like you said, that game against Gannon, he really struggled. Was, I believe, 0 for 6 from 3, and just really had a tough go of it. But if he's able to get hot here early, it's going to be a very good game here for California.
Whitehead converts on the free throw, making it a 4-point play. Already surpassing his total from the PSAC championship, where he only had 4 points on 1 of 7 shooting. Now tonight already up to 6. Pass to Cox. Cox with it now at the top. He's going to hand it off to Martinez. Martinez over to Mims, and Mims up top to Pittman. Pittman's going to take the three. No good off the back rim, and Bryson Lucas with the rebound. Vulcans look to run, but they slow it down a bit. As Antoine Arnett checked in during that last dead ball for Zion Collins. Whitehead doing everything he can to maintain possession and does draw the foul before the ball ends up on the floor. Yeah, and that'll take us to the media timeout.
He got bailed out a little bit there. Arnett was able to give him the ball, and it's not a clean pull in that time by Whitehead, and kind of just stumbling around, just able to get on top of it and just able to draw enough contact. That's 3 fouls already here for West Virginia State early on. So the Yellow Jackets got to be careful, because if it goes down to a free throw game, it's one that the Vulcans will favor. I mean, they're shooting 73% of the season from the free throw line as a team. So that's something that they like to do.
It's just been kind of a hesitant start for both teams here. As you know, the pregame jitters might have just gotten to them a bit. I mean, 10-8's a pretty high scoring first 4 minutes. But with all that being said, the offense hasn't been as crisp as anybody would like it to be, and the jump shot's not falling at the rate they would expect. And I think a lot of it just has to do with the fact that there is a little bit of pressure that comes with hosting, an NCAA tournament game, especially regionals like this against a good team like West Virginia State. They know they have their hands full. So, it's going to be interesting to see how throughout the rest of the game they kind of get settled. And I think Zion Collins is going to answer all that early adversity that he's faced of the turnovers, the missed shots, the foul call, and I think he's going to come back and have a good rest of this game.
Yeah, I mean, for some players, this is the biggest game they've ever played in. I mean, for California, this is the first time that they've hosted a regional game since 2008. So really just big moments for the teams. And, I mean, the last time these two teams played was against each other in the regional tournament 2 years ago, that at IUP. But this is the biggest game for a lot of these players' careers.
Whitehead going to pass it in for the Vulcans. He's going to force it to McClurg. And right there, Nate Mims was able to get a hand on it. The ball does go out of bounds, though, so it'll stay on this end.
Yeah, I think, once again, Whitehead got a bit lucky. Mims should have pulled it in, but he was close enough to almost get a 5-second violation.
He does get it into McClurg this time, and Nate's going to get the handoff back, and with half the amount of time on the shot clock, they're going to get started here. Lucas gets it back to Whitehead at the top. He finds McClurg coming off a screen. Tries to get it to Bryson on the roll, but just kind of a little bit of a miscue there as Bryson lets it go off of his leg.
Yeah, and this Yellow Jackets team, like I talked about, they're long. You got the starting lineup alone, 6'6", 6'8", 6'5", 6'1", and 6'4". So their limbs are lengthy, so it's going to be pretty hard to try to get these bounce passes inside when you have all this wingspan from all of these Yellow Jackets players.
It's like the typical cliche of keep your hands up, and all of a sudden there's not much room to work with. It's right there. He gets called for the travel as Thames tries to make a move in the middle, a little bit of a Euro step, but the referee saw too many steps, and they're going to go ahead and call the travel there.
Hey, it's a beautiful play, too, and you hear a lot of the times from people just say, hey, if it looks good, don't call it, but like you said, maybe just one too many steps.
Jermaine Hall with it. He's going to drive down the right side. He loses his footing, gets it back out to McClurg. McClurg then finds Lucas. Lucas going to take the three off the back rim, no good, and the rebound to Nate Mims. Mims coming up the floor, doing a little bit of a spin move in the middle, off the front rim, no good, and Arnett's going to grab the rebound. Donald Whitehead bringing it back the other way for the Vulcans. They're looking to kind of speed things up on offense a bit here. They're going to get it back to Whitehead. Whitehead puts up a three off the back rim, no good, and another rebound there by Nate Mims.
Yeah, and you see the Vulcans do that a ton of times, the handoff, and then you see Lucas just set a screen facing towards Whitehead after he hands the ball off, just to create that separation. That time Don just couldn't hit the shot.
Pittman on the drive, a little bit of good defense there by the Vulcans to deflect it. The outlet pass to KJ McClurg. He looks to finish, no good. Ball gets tipped out of bounds. It's going to stay on this end.
Yeah, McClurg able to receive that outlet pass, but maybe had a better option than passing it off to Arnett. But after the missed shot, the Yellow Jackets, with a bit of a miscommunication, three players went for the ball, came off one of them out of play.
Some substitutions coming in for the Yellow Jackets as Khalil Kamara and Bunky Brown check into the game. Number 23 and number 9 out there. Another deflection. This team is just all over the place on defense, doing a great job of just disrupting the Vulcans' flow.
Yeah, Khalil Kamara able to get a hand on that one. 6'7", 176. I mean, you can see him in front of McClurg now. Those arms are long.
Whitehead with it now. He's going to go ahead and take the drive. He passes it out to Lucas, over to McClurg. McClurg with the pump fake. The drive down the middle of the floater. And that's going to be called a goaltend as they count the bucket. And this game is now up to a 4-point lead for the Vulcans.
Yeah, I think when McClurg was able to get into that space, the bucket's more of a formality at that point, and I believe it was Pittman who just got a hand on it just to see if the refs would allow it, but bucket counts.
Martinez, the three from the top of the key, no good. The rebound being fought for, and that's where the length kind of comes into play. All of a sudden, a pass down the middle, and Bryson Lucas sends it out of bounds as Martinez tries to make up for the missed three coming down the lane, but Bryson Lucas was having none of it.
I mean, everyone was yelling for the travel because Martinez did not take a dribble after he received that pass, but Lucas was not worried about it, able to meet him at the top, able to send that one out, and Lucas, the defensive anchor of this team, picks up another big block.
Once again, right there on the pass in bounds, Antoine Arnett able to tip it out and cause a little bit of disruption as Keith Palak checks into the game for Bryson Lucas. And during that last dead ball, Zion Collins checked in for fellow senior Jermaine Hall.
Yeah, Palak missing a lot of time this year because of injury, but when he's on, he's one of the best players here for the Vulcans.
Nice little defensive play there, but nonetheless, Martinez able to finish down the middle. And it's going to be a delay of game warning on Arthur Cox as he kind of tipped the ball after it went through the bucket. Referee doing everything he can to kind of keep control on this game.
I mean, Martinez is one where you do not want him to get hot for the Yellow Jackets. Shoots 45% from three, 51 of 112 on the season. This season he has 5 games of 4+ made three-pointers, so he can light it up from behind the arc if you give him the opportunity.
One thing I've realized with this West Virginia State team is they are very aggressive with their hands on defense, always looking to poke the ball regardless where it is. A great mid-range jump shot from Zion Collins as he comes off the bench and makes a difference.
I mean, that leads to a ton of steals. They average 7.9 steals, which is 3rd in the MEC, but sometimes if you are a bit aggressive, you can give up points on the back end, and they're giving up about 80 points a game, which ranks them about in the middle of the MEC.
Pittman in the middle, he's going to rise up and take the jumper, no good. A little bit of an air ball there as Zion Collins catches it, comes back the other way. He's going to shoot the floater in the middle, off the back rim, no good, and the rebound by Martinez.
You know, a bit of a bad decision that time, again, by Collins. He had a ton of his teammates, but the Vulcans were in an advantage man-wise down the court, but just took the shot.
Right there, Arthur Cox with the turnaround jumper off the backboard, no good. And the rebound there by Bunky Brown, smaller one of the players out there for West Virginia State, only 6'2", and Antoine Arnett commits the foul.
Yeah, it's weird when you hear that 6'2" is usually is the shortest one really on the team, but Bunky Brown, who had some stints this season starting, shoots about 60% from the line, has spent the last 6 games off the bench, but I usually like to have a name game, and I mean, he's got to be the winner. That's an unbelievable name.
Yeah, hey, Bunky Brown, I mean, you know, anytime that I'm on the golf course, I find myself in a bunkie. So I'll tell you what, nonetheless, he's going to be at the free throw line here for the second attempt. He does connect on that after missing the first, and that makes this a 3-point game. Donald Whitehead with it now on the right wing, gets it to Zion Collins. Cross court to KJ McClurg. McClurg on the drive, and it's going to be tipped out of bounds by Arthur Cox.
Yeah, again, it's just, there's so much length on this team here for West Virginia State. The Vulcans got to be careful, because if you want to get into a turnover battle, that's one that West Virginia State will favor.
Zion Collins getting a bit trigger happy as he takes the fadeaway jumper there, and it's no good. And back the other way come the Yellow Jackets. And before the three can go up, they're going to call an illegal screen on what I believe is Arthur Cox. And that's going to be his second foul of the contest here early on.
Yeah, and Cox, he's one that, again, you do not want to get in foul trouble early. He's going to check out of the game. But an integral part of this team, 12 points, 5.5 boards. He gets 2 offensive rebounds a game. I mean, he's just crucial on both sides of the ball here, so the Vulcans need to take advantage of him out of the game.
Whitehead with it now off the screen from Palak. He's going to shoot the mid-range jumper, and he connects. He looks much more confident in his jump shot after his stressful game against Gannon.
I mean, he's just got one of the smoothest jump shots I think I've ever seen. Just every time he shoots the ball, it looks beautiful coming out.
rebound battle down low as Keith Palak ends up coming up with it after a couple misses by the Yellow Jackets. Back the other way come the Vulcans. Get over to McClurg, back to Hall. Hall's going to put up the three. Timeout, Yellow Jackets. That's going to take us to our second media timeout as well and our first commercial break of the broadcast. We'll be right back.
On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
Everybody, welcome back. So we are set to go here for the remainder of this first half. 11 minutes, 20 seconds left to play here as California has gotten their biggest lead of the night at 19-11 over the West Virginia Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, just offensively, they started to catch a spark a little bit, able to knock down shot after shot. And Coach Poor for the Yellow Jackets in his 25th season, I think Smiley just takes the timeout, just trying to cool off this Vulcan offense.
Going back into the game, Bunky Brown with it now. And pass it over to Landry Pilata, who just checked into the game for the Yellow Jackets. And a kick out to Antonio Carter, who also just checked in the game. The three no good, and the rebound by the Vulcans. Whitehead with it now at the top of the key. He's guarded by Pilata. Palak with it. Gets it over to Zion Collins. Collins at the top. He's going to get it to Jermaine Hall. Jermaine trying to work that pivot foot. He's going to take it underneath. Looks for Palak under the bucket. Cannot find him. A cross-court pass from Palak over to Whitehead. Only 4 on the shot clock. He's going to have to force up a shot here. Jermaine Hall gets it to Whitehead. Whitehead gets it off, but no good off the front rim. And the rebound goes to the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, just a wash of a possession for California. A couple of times where they caught the passes but just dropped it, and Whitehead just had enough time to get that shot off.
Brown with it. He's going to get it over to Antonio Carter, who steps on the line before he drives to the basket, and the Vulcans are going to take the possession the other way.
West Virginia State have been really slow out of the gate so far. On the offensive side of the ball in the season, they're shooting 47% from the field, 37% from three, and in this game so far, they just really have not been able to knock down the shots.
Donald Whitehead with it at the top. He's going to get it over to Jermaine Hall. Hall guarded by Kahari Rogers. Gets it over to KJ McClurg. His three-pointer way off as it just nicks the rim. Almost finds its way out of bounds, but it is tracked down by the Yellow Jackets. And here they come on offense. The three-pointer there from Kamara. No good. He's going to drive it in. What a great pass as he gets it to Landry Pilata, but he came in from out of bounds, and they're going to say before he caught it, he left the floor from out of bounds, so it'll come back the other way for the Vulcans.
I mean, it was a great pass by Kamara. I mean, he went up there, he was able to just scoop it underhand, but like you said, I don't think Pilata got in time, and the Vulcans luck out, but still on the backside, Hall picked up the big block.
KJ McClurg up and under. He gets going a little bit here and on a great drive underneath the basket and finishes on the left side with his right hand.
Yeah, if he gets going, this game could be wraps early on. He's got 6 points already.
A three-pointer there, no good. Offensive rebound by the Yellow Jackets. Bunky Brown with it in the middle. He's going to kick it out to Kamara. Kamara's three, and they're going to say his foot was on the line, so it will be a 2, but he does connect.
Yeah, Kamara 6'7", but for a big man, shoots 47% from three, so another one of those players where you got to be able to guard him.
Palak gets the pass from Whitehead, takes it to the rim, creates some contact, cannot finish at the rim, but he will have 2 free throws coming up here.
Yeah, it really was a shame for Palak this season. After a phenomenal season last year, just picked up the injury early on in the season, missed a ton of time, but has slowly been working his way back in with the team. And like I said, whenever you have a player like Keith Palak's caliber coming off the bench, that just shows you how good the Vulcan starting lineup has been so far this year.
All the players on this Vulcans team have stressed all year how they really just play for each other and they play to win. Individual accolades don't really mean much to them. So somebody like Palak, who cuts his points per game in half essentially this season, coming off the bench, not getting nearly as much playing time, not being the option. He's done a great job coming off the bench, being that defensive presence, and still giving them some spark underneath on offense. As Kamara gets it over to Pittman. Pittman he's going to take the jump shot from the right side, and he connects over Zion Collins, who just kind of didn't even contest.
Yeah, I mean, they score a lot of isolation buckets.
Three-pointer there from Keith Palak's no good. Zion Collins gets the offensive rebound out to Whitehead. Back over to Hall. Hall now gets it to Palak. Palak on the drive. Can't finish with the hand. As the rebound goes to the Yellow Jackets. And Keith Palak makes up for the miss, though, however, as he gets in the passing lane, creates a turnover. Whitehead going to drop it off to Palak. Palak gets it. McClurg gets it to Palak, and Palak's going to get charged for the offensive foul down the lane.
Yeah, two back-to-back possessions where it's a miscue from Palak. Palak is a big guy. I mean, 6'8", 215, but he is one of those players where you don't see him dunking a whole lot, where he doesn't get a ton off the ground. But and I heard a lot of people behind us yelling for him to dunk it on the previous possession, where if he would have, that would have been some free points. But he went back down the court again, and great job by West Virginia State coming back in transition on defense, and they were able to pick up a big charge.
West Virginia State with it now, gets it to Pittman. Pittman going to take another jumper, this time not giving any space to land, and he's going to find himself on the free throw line for two following our third media timeout of this first half.
Yeah, that time Collins got a hand up, and Pittman able to just get a little bit forward, able to draw that contact, and Collins will pick up his first. So that'll take us to another media timeout. In California, after that timeout, really slowed down just a little bit, not too much, but that timeout that that West Virginia State took seems to have slowed down the Vulcan offense just at least for a bit.
Right now we've gotten definitely a back and forth game, even with it being a 7-point deficit. The Vulcans have done everything they can to kind of keep up on offense, but West Virginia State's still done a good job at rebounding the basketball, creating some turnovers, and that's kind of been their recipe to this point that has gotten them within 7, and it honestly feels closer than it is.
Yeah, on the season, West Virginia State, they're third in the MEC, 40 rebounds a game on the year, 12.9 on the offensive side, 27 flat on the defensive side. They're grabbing a ton of boards, and I'm not surprised at all when we talk about with the size of their players, and that's something that the Vulcans have struggled with throughout the season, especially giving up offensive rebounds. We saw them lose that game against Slippery Rock single-handedly on the second chance points that they gave, that Slippery Rock were able to gain, and we've seen Gannon do that as well, where Gannon don't have the tallest players, but they have a ton of players that fight in, able to box out some key Vulcans players, get some big offensive boards, create second chance points, and a team like that, they're going to take their second chances more often than not. And if you're California, you do not want to let West Virginia State do the same thing, because if they can stick around, anything can happen.
5 on the floor for the Yellow Jackets: Nate Mims, Anthony Pittman, Mozzie Thames, Miguel Martinez, and Khalil Kamara. First free throw there for Pittman's no good. 5 on the floor for the Vulcans: Jermaine Hall, Bryson Lucas, Antoine Arnett, KJ McClurg, and Donald Whitehead. Vulcans going with a bit of a bigger lineup here. 3 somewhat big men with Bryson Lucas, Jermaine Hall, and Antoine Arnett out there. Just kind of keep up with the size that this West Virginia State team has.
Because if you run 3 guards out there, you're just going to get swamped with the length that the Yellow Jackets have.
McClurg with it now. He does a little step back. Bobby Jack finds the bottom. KJ McClurg, the early bucket there to get going as he kind of puts the moves on and creates some space for himself.
And that's something as well. I mean, he threw up the 3 signal inside of Kamara's face. He's got the swagger.
Wow, and Anthony Pittman going to find the bank off the backboard from the top of the key and answer as he gets those 3 points right back.
And Pittman, no slouch, 32% free throw shooter, or a three-point shooter on the season, so definitely one the Vulcans have to respect out there.
Antoine Arnett going to take a rare mid-range jumper. He's going to connect, as that's his first points of the night coming off the bench for the Vulcans.
We saw Arnett a lot early on in the season, but with the addition of Pallett coming back, he's kind of played a little bit of a lesser role, but still a very key piece for this Vulcan team.
All of a sudden, Anthony Pittman getting going for the Yellow Jackets as he connects on another deep 2-point jumper. He's up to 10 points on the night, and he's feeling himself. Arnett with it now. He's going to get it over to Bryson Lucas. Lucas with a mid-range jumper. He's going to get fouled as Pittman really didn't give him much room to breathe. And he'll find his way to the free throw line.
And that's something that the Vulcans do very well. A ton of them all season have been able to just draw contact from anywhere on the floor. It seemed like for a while, Lucas, nothing was going to get called, but able to, I wouldn't say sell it, but able to emphasize the contact that Pittman was able to lay on him and able to draw the free throws.
Bryson Lucas, the line connects on the first. Bryson Lucas is a 70% free throw shooter on the year, has brought that average up all the way down at 63%, about halfway through conference play, and has done a much better job here in the second half of the year to raise that percentage and just continue to be an all-around player for this Vulcan squad.
It's not something you really see out of a big man as well, shooting 70% plus from the free throw line, and when you have a big man able to shoot like that, and he already shoots 58% from the field, that's a very efficient offensive score the California Vulcans have.
It's going to be an early whistle as there was some back and forth down low. It looks like Antoine Arnett will pick up his second foul. Or no, I'm sorry, that was on Donald Whitehead. That'll actually be his first of the contest. Must have just caught an arm or something through a cutting defender, cutting offensive player, and ball's going to be under the basket now. Pittman gets it on the inbound. Arnett on him. Going to get it up top to Thames. Thames on the drive. He goes up with the right hand and finishes off the board over Antoine Arnett.
Yeah, Thames is one of the shorter ones here on the Yellow Jackets, 6'1", but able to blow by Hall and Arnett a little bit too late on the contest.
KJ McClurg puts up a three, and once again another jump shot foul. They're just not really giving anybody any space to land here. That's the third one we've seen in just about as many minutes. And all of a sudden, KJ McClurg going to make his way to the line for what I believe will be 3 free throws.
Yeah, it's not something you see often, multiple fouls from beyond the three-point line, but like I said, it is something that the Yellow Jackets, they're super aggressive on defense, and this is where it can bite them, where you're trying to get out late to contest, and McClurg, one of the masters at drawing contact, is going to be able to do it just about every single time, and he shot 242 free throws this season coming into the game at 83% clip.
Leading the PSAC in free throws attempted, and I believe he's third in the PSAC in free throw percentage. So doing everything he can to kind of maintain his scoring workload, even at the free throw line, the charity strike. And he connects on all 3 there to give California what I believe is a 10-point, maybe 9 or 10-point lead.
And that's where he's really improved his game from last season to this season, is just drawing that contact, because it adds just a whole different threat where he's been able to get the shooting numbers up where you have to respect them, and he's able to draw the contact as well.
The jump shot there by Pittman is no good, as even though he's been kind of connecting on a couple of his jump shots confidence-wise, that's his second air ball of the night. Finds its way out of bounds, and the Vulcan's going to bring it back.
Yeah, California seems very okay and willing to just let him take those contested outside shots where he's able to knock down some of them, but the Vulcans trust their defense enough where they'll let him take that shot more often than not.
Whitehead with it now. He's going to take a step-back 3 off the front rim. No good, and the rebound of Pittman. 9-point deficit here. Pittman takes it all the way, and the block by Jermaine Hall as he comes from behind, but looks like the whistle was blown, as Pittman will find his way to the free throw line once again.
They're going to call Lucas on the foul, but Hall, not someone that blocks a ton of shots, only 8 on the season, but I mean, that was disgusting. Able to just get back, able to just read it all the way, but Pittman able to just draw enough contact off of Lucas to get to the line.
First free throw by Pittman's no good.
And that's 3 missed in a row. He shoots 67.6% on the season. He missed his last 2. He's missed the first one here.
Second free throw here. Off the front rim and backboard and in. It's an 8-point game here in the Convocation Center.
Yeah, I think the decent crowd here and a decent showing by the Vulcan faithful in today's game might just be throwing off a little bit from the line. He still has 11 points.
Antoine Arnett at the top. He's going to pump fake the pass, get it over to Bryson Lucas. Lucas then looks for Arnett underneath, but not the most efficient pass there as West Virginia State comes up with it. The other way, Thames with the pull-up three, no good. Bryson Lucas with the rebound, and now the Vulcans are off and running. Going to get it to Jermaine Hall. Jermaine Hall's going to shoot the three from the wing, no good. Thames with the rebound. Now all of a sudden we have a game of transition. Trying to see what's going on here as Thames takes it all the way. Off the front rim, no good. The rebound by Hall, and the kick out to Bryson Lucas. 2-on-1 here as McClurg gets it up to Bryson Lucas for the alley-oop. And what an explanation point by the Vulcans.
Those two were on the same page from the minute they were on the transition. Lucas lobbed it up to McClurg, knowing McClurg would hit him right back, and just electric stuff here from the Vulcans.
The drive there by Nate Mims. He's going to get fouled, find his way to the free throw line. But, man, what a play there by the Vulcans. And you can tell that's something that they practiced a lot, as McClurg put that in the perfect place for Bryson Lucas to slam it home.
I mean, they just get out on the fast break so quickly. Just a missed shot, a great penetrating drive by Thames, but missed the shot. And on the other end, the Vulcans able to get the rebound quickly, and they know exactly what they're doing the second they move down the floor. And like I said, I saw the cogs in Lucas's head turning. He lobbed it over to McClurg, knowing that he would just throw it right back to him.
Nate Mims, 79% free throw shooter on the year. Connected on the first. Second free throw, front rim, bounces around a lot, finds its way to the bottom. Still an 8-point game here in the combo.
Yeah, the Vulcans need to slow down on the fouls, because if that's one way, I mean, it seems like they have all the momentum right now, but if you want West Virginia State to stick around this game, claw their way back, it's going to be at the free throw line.
Whitehead and Hall trading it back and forth, gets it over to Arnett in the corner. Arnett looking for Whitehead across court, and just a miscommunication as Whitehead was a little further down, but that'll take us to our final media timeout of this first half. We're going to go ahead and take it to commercial, because we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. As we're set to go for the final 4 minutes of this first half. 3 minutes, 50 seconds left to go. California with an 8-point lead, 34-26. Both teams with 7 fouls in the first half, so any fouls will result in the opposing team heading to the free throw line for a 1-on-1.
Yeah, and down the stretch of any half, that's where you can really make up some ground, like I said. So if you're either side, it's a chance for the Vulcans to extend the lead by just drawing some fouls, getting to the line, knocking them down. And for the Yellow Jackets, a chance for them to dig themselves out of this 8-point hole.
Pittman with it now. He's been the go-to guy here for West Virginia State early on. Nate Mims with the drive and the finish at the rim. He's going to also get fouled by Bryson Lucas, and he's going to go to the line with a chance to make this a 3-point play.
Yeah, and Mims did a great job that time protecting the ball, because Lucas, one of the ones really looking to hunt for the blocks. Mims that time able to just spin his hand away, able to use the back of his hand to kind of guard the ball away from Lucas as he was able to lay that in off the glass.
Mims, the 6'6" sophomore, kind of plays more like a point guard, which is dangerous, because all of a sudden you got this tall guy that can grab rebounds and also make plays for him and his teammates. And now West Virginia State in somewhat of a full court press. McClurg, and Whitehead just going to get it back and forth here. Whitehead picks up his dribble once he crosses, and they break the press. But not before wasting 10 seconds off the shot clock, and now they're already down to 10 on the shot clock. So Whitehead looking over to McClurg, the deny ball over there. Gets it to Hall. Hall gets it to Arnett. Arnett loses it. It's going to get tipped out of bounds. With 5 seconds left on the shot clock, the Vulcans will have it under the bucket.
Yeah, I can understand why the Yellow Jackets are running the full court press. Like you said, they have the length to try to steal it away, and they can just run a ton of time off the clock.
Arnett goes up for the layup off the inbound pass. He does get fouled. It looks like it's going to be against number 9, and that's Khalil Kamara. Like you said, the length of this West Virginia State team just allows them to do so much. And when you have an offensive firehouse like California that thrives on getting the most efficient shot, when you can slow them down and kind of make the shot clock less time than it really is, you know, bring it to, let's say, 20 seconds once they're crossing half court, you know, it makes it difficult for them. So very good strategy there for West Virginia State as Arnett misses the first of 2.
Yeah, when you have 2 relatively shorter players comparatively to the Yellow Jackets and 5'10 Whitehead and 6'3 McClurg, you want to be able to use that length to your advantage. Just trap them in the corner and make it so they can't get a pass off.
And the legal screen there from Miguel Martinez, I saw that from all the way over here as he kind of just laid his hands on him instead of, you know, placing the body in the right place. That's going to lead to another turnover for the Yellow Jackets. It's going to come back for the Vulcans.
Martinez is really upset about that one, saying that it was the Vulcans who initiated the contact, but unable to win that case.
Hall gets it over to McClurg, left wide open. You got to think he connects there, and he does. KJ McClurg over the double-digit mark as he's up to 12.
And if you leave that guy wide open, he's knocking it down 99 times out of 100.
Mims with it now at the top, guarded by McClurg. Going to hand it off to Thames, and Thames is guarded by Jermaine Hall. On the drive, Thames puts it up, and Hall with a great defense. Martinez puts it up. You can hear the slap from over here as he finishes, plus the foul. He's going to head to the free throw line as well.
And that was all created by Thames' drive. He was able to just get inside and able to just cause the Vulcan defense to collapse, and that left Martinez not boxed out at all, and was able to just grab that offensive board. Looks like they're telling Nate Mims to go down and fix that end on the other side.
Six-point game currently. Martinez trying to make it a 5-point game with the free throw. Up and off the back rim, no good. And it stays at 37-31 in favor of the Vulcans. Whitehead with it at the top. A little bit of somewhat of a zone here from West Virginia State, I do believe. It almost looks like a 2-3 zone, maybe even 3-2. They're using their length to their advantage to try to cut off corners and not allow for open shots. Palak with it in the corner of the cross-court pass to Hall. Hall, the deep 3 off the back rim and no good. The fight for the rebound as Pittman comes down for it.
Yeah, watching a couple of games, we've seen the versatility of this Yellow Jackets defense. Like you said, they were able to switch from the man-to-man. And like you said, that time it looked like a 3-2. They would just use that length to their advantage.
Oh, and the pull-up jump shot there from Anthony Pittman to silence the crowd and make this a one-possession game, 37-34. Hall brings it up the floor and gives it to Whitehead. Whitehead with it now, setting up the offense. Back to Hall, back to Whitehead. They're moving it across the top of the key. Jermaine telling his teammates to move around a little bit, try to get open against this defense. As Hall finds Whitehead again, under 10 seconds to go on the shot clock. Gets it back to Hall, just back and forth between the two of them. Whitehead forces up a 3 off the back rim, no good. Anthony Pittman pulls down another rebound.
We've seen the Vulcans struggle in stretches against Seton Hill, and Seton Hill known for their zone defense, and something that a lot of teams, especially the D2 level, aren't really used to, something they got to adjust to here.
As Thames on the drive, he's going to go ahead and kick it out, but the great deflection there from Hall. KJ McClurg comes up with it, the great pass down to Hall. He finishes, and the foul, as he's going to find his way to the free throw line as well.
If you asked him if he meant to do that, I don't think he would have. It seemed like he couldn't quite get control of that go-ahead pass by McClurg, but somehow, some way, he's able to just get that one in. And if you're Jermaine, he'll take that every single time. And it's important for the Vulcans to try to get themselves a decent cushion going into half here.
Hall only a 66% free throw shooter on the year, but has done a much better part from the line here in the second half of the season. As he connects on the first two, or on his 3-point play conversion. And a little early check-in here for Caden Hanna, number 22 for the Vulcans, coming into the game for Jermaine Hall. Get him a little much-needed break here in this final minute.
Yeah, and Hall has 2 fouls, so the Vulcans don't want him to pick up a third one before the end of the half. So just gets Caden in a big body.
Pittman does a great job of creating some space, gets Arnett to leave his feet, leans into the body for the jumper, and creates some contact. But I'll go to the free throw line for 2 free throws. You know, I get the feel that Pittman would be a great – he's just such a great scorer on offense. He can do so much with it that he's almost like a park player. He's a guy that, you know, you don't want a one-on-one. He's got so many moves in his bag. He can do so much with the basketball. And so far to this point, 14 points up to this point in the game. And, I mean, we talked about earlier, a 37-point game, 36-point game earlier in the year. He can really go off if he's given the opportunity.
He's just a very, like you said, very individually skilled player. He has so many tricks up his sleeve. Does a great job of protecting the ball, and one-on-one, he's just a nightmare. So he's 16 points in this game as he checks out of the game, and a big, big reason why it's only a 4-point game.
Landry Pilato checks into the game for Pittman. Just trying to avoid picking up Pittman's third foul the same way they were with Jermaine Hall. As Whitehead gets across half court, calls the timeout. 27 seconds left to go here in this first half. 21 seconds on the shot clock, so about a 6-second shot and game clock differential there.
If the Vulcans don't take the timeout, they lose it regardless. So no harm, no foul. Take the timeout. Draw up a good play to get off before the end of the half and try to extend your lead going into the break.
I want to touch back on a point that you made a couple minutes ago. You know, the Vulcans struggling against the zone overall, and West Virginia State kind of taking that route here late in the first half to see if they can kind of throw them off. And when you're the Vulcans team, you're a team that, you know, their offense runs on pick and rolls, backdoor cuts, backdoor screens, a lot of, you know, losing your man. And when you're in a zone and guys are kind of locked into a specific spot on the floor, it makes that a lot harder. So the Vulcans really have to find a way to get open, find soft spots in the zone, and you know, just get the most efficient shot that they can.
Yeah, and when you're playing against a team running a zone, they're telling you, we dare you to knock down these shots, because, like you said, all that movement that the Vulcans like to do, doesn't really work out against a zone defense, and it's not something that a ton of teams run, so it's not something that you really practice against a whole lot.
Whitehead finds Palak in the middle. Palak finds Arnett, and Arnett with the slam. What a great way to tap off the first half. Down to 1 second on the clock. Mims going to put up the half quarter, no good.
Pretty much a wash, so it's a very big double-edged sword that both teams got to figure out here in the second half.
Both teams starting the second half with their starting lineups. And California will have possession to get things going here early on. To McClurg and Collins passing it back and forth at the top. They find Jermaine Hall for the mid-range jumper. He connects for the first basket of the final 20 minutes.
And that's really where those soft spots are, is right underneath the free throw line, inside of the arc. And if you're California and you're Hall there, you receive that pass, and you got to be able to either knock down your shot, or when the players collapse on you, pass out.
Martinez, he shoots a three. He connects. Like we said early in that first half, that's somebody you don't want to see get going early. And I believe that's his first shot from beyond the arc of this game.
And that's someone that if the Yellow Jackets want to win this game, they got to get going, just because he adds such a different dynamic to the team.
KJ McClurg, the three-pointer, gets no space to land. He's fouled by Nate Mims. And this is the second time in this game he's going to go to the free throw strike for 3 attempts.
And I was going to say, I feel like that is one thing that the Vulcans have, or both teams can really go after at the beginning of this half, is 3 players for California with 2 fouls coming out of halftime, and now West Virginia State with 4 players on the court at 2 fouls. If you're the Vulcans, you can go at a couple of these players early on in this half, get them in foul trouble, draw the fouls, and get them to go to the floor or get them off the floor, because West Virginia State or California just want to be able to preserve them for the end of the game.
Second free throw good there by McClurg. And like you said, Nate Mims, Arthur Cox, Anthony Pittman and Mozzie Thames, all with 2 fouls for the Yellow Jackets. And then on the other side, Jermaine Hall, Bryson Lucas, and Zion Collins with 2 fouls for the Vulcans. As KJ connects on 2 of 3 free throws there. Coming back the other way is the Yellow Jackets as they find themselves down 7. Mims with the jumper, no good. The rebound by Martinez. He puts it back up. He has the first 5 for the Yellow Jackets in this half.
Yeah, that time Whitehead just caught unaware. Martinez came trailing in behind him, and just as easy of a basket as you want for Miguel Martinez.
Collins finds Whitehead. Top. He's going to go in the middle to Bryson Lucas. Lucas has a little bit of space. He's going to release it, and the 2-point jumper from Lucas is good, as it almost looks like Danny Sankum kind of urged the team to look in the middle against this zone, try to open up some spaces that might be some soft spots in the end.
Yeah, again, it's just around the elbows, and the Vulcans, when you have Hall and Lucas, who are very good interior shooters, just able to get into those spaces and get the shots.
I believe that's going to be a jump ball, as no foul was called, and Yellow Jackets now with possession after California had it coming out of the break. Referee down there just trying to make sure that, you know, tempers aren't flaring or anything, and everybody's okay on that end. As Pittman on the drive now. Jermaine Hall with the active hands on defense. He knocks it loose. Bryson Lucas comes up with it, and now the Vulcans coming back the other way. A great move there from Donald Whitehead on the spin. He finds Jermaine Hall. Oh, and a great steal there from Thames as he just tips it up and keeps it in bounds. Brings it back the other way, and the fast break finish for Nate Mims.
And that's something that the Vulcans do often, where they just try to look for the they can get good shots, but they look for the perfect shots, and sometimes they just pass up on the opportunities, and it seemed like Hall could have taken the 3, but ended up getting his pocket picked.
Jermaine Hall, nothing but net there from the high post as he fades away, hits the jump shot, and now he's starting to get going. Full court pass to Arthur Cox in transition. He's going to finish the 2-point lay-in. And that's the second time Arthur Cox has had a layup game. I don't know if they know that he had that earlier in the first half. It was a different ref that called it back then, but it's now a second layup game. Usually ends in technical, but Jermaine Hall with it on the wing. He finds KJ McClurgan back up top to Whitehead as they're going to set up the offense with 17 on the shot clock. They're going to wait for the shot clock to hit 10, and then they're going to get a little bit of movement. Some backdoor cuts by Zion Collins and KJ McClurg. He's coming off a screen. 6 seconds on the shot clock. He's going to find Bryson Lucas on the roll. He gets it to Zion Collins underneath. Collins puts it up. He gets the contact and draws the foul as he'll go to the free throw line, and that'll be Cox's 3rd.
Just a well-executed play that time by California. Really able to just milk the clock, able to get a good enough movement, as it seemed like that time the Yellow Jackets went back more into the traditional man-to-man, and Collins able to get Martinez to bite up in the air, and then able to just wait long enough, patient enough underneath to draw the contact and make his way to the line. All 5 players now on the court for West Virginia State on 2 fouls.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that foul call went against Martinez. It seemed like he tried to keep his hands up the best he could, and Cox was kind of in there trying to loosen the ball from Zion Collins' grip, but nonetheless, like you said, all 5 starters for the Yellow Jackets now with 2 fouls.
And if you're the Vulcans, this is the go time. This is the opportunity to exploit them a little bit. Just go at them, try to force the contact, rack up the fouls on the back end, and not only will you get a ton of free throws, you'll force some of these players to have to miss some serious minutes.
Great defense there by Bryson Lucas to knock it loose, but Yellow Jackets able to recover, and Anthony Pittman able to finish up and under for 2.
And that's where being aggressive in the passing lanes really goes back to bite you, because if you don't get that steal, you're not man out, you're out of position. And that time, the Yellow Jackets able to find the extra man and Pittman underneath, and Pittman with a nice acrobatic up into the finish.
McClurg with it now, guarded by Pittman, gets it up top to Hall. Looks like they're actually back in their zone of 3-2. It's the kick out there from Whitehead to McClurg. McClurg going to create some space and knock down the 3. Gets a look over to the scorer's table, and KJ McClurg connecting from long range. He's up to 20 points on the night for the Vulcans.
And if he gets going early on, I mean, he's been going all game, but if he just has that swagger, able to knock down some more shots early on in this second half, you can see him going for 30+.
Another foul there, this time on Bryson Lucas, as Nate Mims fakes, has a little bit of a pump fake on a jump shot, gets Lucas to leave his feet and leans in. Lucas seems to be limping a little bit coming off the court. Got to hope everything's okay there, as that does take us to our first media timeout of the second half. That will be Lucas's third foul. First player in this game to reach 3 fouls. So you have to keep an eye on that as well.
It looks like Palak just went to the scores table to check himself in. I believe Lucas will come out, and he's someone that this season has. It's been ups and downs in that aspect, where it seems a couple of games early on he would get himself into a ton of foul trouble early in the game, and when you have someone like him who's so transformative on both ends of the court, he's your defensive anchor, and he's a really just elite 3-level scorer on the offensive side. Just having someone like that on your team is so crucial, but picks up a ton of fouls, and someone that the Vulcans probably take out reserve for the next couple of minutes just to try to use him as much down the stretch, because when you have him out there, he's a game changer.
Bryson Lucas able to do so much on the stat sheet, from steals to blocks to rebounds, points and assists. I mean, he really can do it all for the Vulcans. So you have to hope that he's okay there health-wise, and maybe he's just getting a break because of the 3 fouls and not necessarily how his body's physically feeling. But nonetheless, like we said, Keith Palak checking into the game, and he's not unfamiliar with the spotlight, as he was the go-to scorer for this team last year, and he knows what it takes to win games, and he's done a good job all season long. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in these couple minutes of the second half.
He's not unfamiliar with West Virginia State. In recent memory, the only game that these two teams played was that game on March 13th, 2022, in the second round of the regional tournament. And Keith Palak, the only member of the Vulcans team that played in that game. For California in that game, Brent Pegram, 18 points, 4 assists. Phil Alston of Loyola Chicago, 12 points, 10 rebounds, 4 steals. Actually, Zion Collins also played in that game. I don't know why. I just lie for attention. Made that one up. 10 points, 6 steals in that game for Zion Collins. So Palak and Collins, the only 2 members of California with experience against West Virginia State. For West Virginia State, Pittman, the only one with experience against the Vulcans.
Mim's second free throw is good.
In that game against California, Pittman, 9 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 6 steals in his only game against California. Very all-around stat-stuffing performance, and only a 2-point loss, which was a game that California weren't expected to win. They would get a huge upset before they bowed out in the final of the Atlantic Regional against IUP.
Jermaine Hall's jump shot is no good, and the rebound goes over to Martinez. The Yellow Jackets down 7, 15 minutes to go in this game. Bringing it down the court, and here's Thames. He's going to pull up for 3, right in Keith Palak's face, as he cuts this lead down to 4, just over 15 to play. Whitehead with it now, using that pivot foot, setting it up at the top of the key, getting some motion going as KJ McClurg and Zion Collins cut backdoor. Collins with it now, looking in the middle. He finds Jermaine Hall. Jermaine Hall over to Whitehead. Whitehead's got some space. He releases the 3. Donald Whitehead in double figures at 11 points.
Yeah, he had an early splurge in that first half. Been a bit quiet, but just such a great outside shooter is Whitehead, just all around.
Martinez on the drive, and he finishes at the rim over the smaller Whitehead. Collins with it now on the drive. He finds Whitehead again. Whitehead, I thought, was going to shoot it, but instead passes up, puts the ball on the floor. Finds Zion Collins, back to Whitehead. Whitehead now the mid-range jumper for 2. Donald Whitehead looking mighty comfortable in that jump shot as he connects on the last 2 possessions.
Yeah, when he's on, and we talk about just one of the purest, just such a beautiful jump shot, and that time just able to score all around on the outside, and that time just enough space to get the shot up and able to get it to go in.
Nate Mims 3 no good. The pass from Jermaine Hall to KJ McClurg, and Pittman pinned it against the board. I guess he did get there in time, as there was no whistle from any of the 3 refs. Great block there by Pittman as he makes the defensive play. Almost like a LeBron chase down block there. That was something else, as California resetting their offensive game plan here. Under 10 to go on the shot clock. Gets it up to Collins. Collins going to pump fake, look to put the ball on the floor. Only 2 on the clock. He's got to fade away. Off the rim and no good. The fight for the rebound as Jermaine Hall finds it. and hits it off Martinez's leg, and all of a sudden they got a 20-second shot clock and the ball back.
Yeah, Hall just tireless out there. Great effort. Just throws it off Martinez, like you said, but McClurg, one of the ones on the fast break, known to just try to look for some contact, but Pittman only 20 blocks on the season, which is from someone that you don't typically you would expect more out of a 6'5", 205 man, but got back in time. Just great effort on transition, and the referee's taking some time. It looks like Cox might have taken a blow to the mouth, had to wipe something off, and back underway once again.
All with it now. 15 on the shot clock for the Vulcans. Going to Whitehead, dribbling a little bit, gets it back to Hall. Hall going to put up the three off the backboard and in. And just the look on Cox's face says it all, as he was just shrugging his shoulders, wondering how that even found the bottom. Jermaine Hall from three.
And it was great defense by the Yellow Jackets, but better offense would be better defense.
A surprising call there from the referees. KJ McClurg seemed to get into the right place at the right time to draw the charge, something he does so well. But the referee going to go ahead and call the blocking foul on McClurg. That's going to be only his first of the contest, so nothing to worry about there, but surprising to say the least.
Coach Sankum wants an explanation because, like we talk about all the time, McClurg loves the contact. He embraces the contact. He takes a ton of charges for the team, and I think they're saying maybe he did get his feet set in time, and more often than not, McClurg gets that call.
And Martinez steps out of bounds before he's able to do anything, and after the whistle, Martinez went for a lay-in, and Keith Palak continued to play defense, and now Martinez is asking for some kind of technical or something, but I mean, nonetheless, Keith Palak was kind of just playing through the whistle. I don't think there was anything malicious really done there.
I think it was more of the fact that he put his hands on Martinez to bring him back than to get on the ball. But Palak isn't one to shy away from getting involved in the mental aspect of the game. And as we talked about, it seems a little bit like the Yellow Jackets are on edge a bit, and they're calling for Palak to receive a technical there. But something that both teams have to keep an eye out for is just not letting the emotions get to them in this game and trying to finish it out.
Whitehead rises up for the jumper but gets rid of it before releasing. Hall in the post now. He's going to go ahead and force his way up off the back rim, and no good, and the rebound by Martinez. Pittman bringing it up for West Virginia State. Drives down the middle and creates some contact. He's going to make his way to the free throw line once again.
A poor decision on the offensive end by Jermaine Hall Jr. That time, three people inside or guarding him. Had a couple options to pass it out to, but decided to just try to force the shot, and it led to Pittman able to get a full head of steam down the court and just run into the heart of the Vulcan defense, getting back on transition and forcing another foul.
A look over into the other game that's being played in this region is Gannon ahead of Lincoln 58-35 in the second half. 16 minutes to go in that one. So it looks like Gannon will continue their winning streak and up it to 20 games following their contest against Lincoln.
In that game, only shooting 4 for 15 from three, which is a bit unusual for Gannon. Still shooting 51% from the field, just efficient as ever, and a team to beat, not only in this Atlantic region, but in the entire nation.
McClurg with it now, working with the ball. It's a little bit of a reach-in foul. Referee doesn't call anything, and McClurg, instead of going for the ball, looks to the ref for something. And that's going to be our second media timeout and our first commercial break of the second half, as we will be right back here from the Convocation Center in California. Stay tuned for the final 12 minutes of excitement.
Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades.
The road to national championships runs through NCAA.com. And whether you follow one college team or all of them, it's never been easier to get the content you want all in one place. With live broadcasts of multiple championships across all divisions, with exclusive access.
Turn this music on, we still dancing.
And highlights for every single championship. Stay in the game all season long with NCAA.com, the home of college sports.
Welcome back as we are live from the Convocation Center. 11 minutes, 55 seconds left to go. California with a 9-point lead, 63-54 over the Yellow Jackets of West Virginia State. Things are starting to get chippy here, I would say, as the emotions are beginning to flare and, you know, a little bit more contact on each possession.
Yeah, I saw the referees getting together just before the break of the timeout, and I mean, it's not unusual, but wouldn't be surprised if they're just talking about how to keep this game in check, because like we talked about, once you get the players going against you and the fans going against you, tempers are going to flare.
Keith Palek's three at the shot clock buzzer, no good, but the offensive rebound by Jermaine Hall. He goes up for the dunk, but gets fouled on his way up. He'll make his way to the free throw line. He tried to maybe interject a little bit of energy into this building there with what kind of looked like a big takeoff for the man, and he's going to find his way to the free throw line.
Yeah, maybe trying to show as well why he should move on to the next round of the slam dunk contest, and that time it was Thames. Caught a piece of him on the way up, just knocked it off, but still able to draw that contact and get himself to the line.
Jermaine Hall was able to talk to him after the PSAC tournament game against Slippery Rock, and talked about how coming into the NCAA tournament, he knows each game could be his last, and it's a big reason why he plays as hard as he does every minute he's out there. And connects on both free throws there, gets his team up to 11 in their lead category.
So big shots, and one of the nicest guys out there, just always willing to take the time to talk to us, say nice things about us as well.
Nice little and one there from Anthony Pittman, but building on your point of Jermaine, if anybody wants to get to know him a little bit better, feel free to head over to YouTube and get a look at the senior send-off between him and Zion Collins, get a little bit of a deeper look into what they did for this team and their journey to the point that they're at now, as they're doing everything they can to extend their careers.
And speaking of Collins, he just picked up his 4th foul of the game on that and one drive by Pittman.
Pittman converts on the free throw, cutting the lead down to 8 now for California. He's up to 21. He's the leading scorer in this game now. Whitehead with it, looking over to Coach Sankum for the call. Gets it to Jermaine. Jermaine on the wing, finds Keith Palek up top. Keith Palek, the backdoor pass to KJ McClurg, and run to perfection by the Vulcans.
And that's something that Keith Palek has been great at all of his career here at California. Just such an elite passer for being 6'8", just able to get that with the weight on that pass just right for KJ, and KJ just does the rest.
Thames the step back three over Palek, and Palek just doing whatever he can to throw off the shot, and it's an air ball from Thames. Palek gets a little bit of trash talking after the play, and the referee giving him somewhat of a warning, but I mean, when it comes to playoff basketball, I don't know how you can knock him for wanting to do that, as you know, each play is so important down the stretch.
Yeah, when you're playing at this level in important games like this, you got to have the confidence from the get-go, and you got to maintain it all game, because, and then that's one thing that a lot of teams do, is just trying to win the mental battle, because if you're able to win the mental battle, it gives your team such an advantage.
Arnett loses the ball there on the double team, but ends up getting fouled before anybody's able to come up with it. As the ball will stay on this end with 20 seconds on the shot clock. That'll be the 4th foul for the West Virginia State Yellow Jackets this half.
It's Pittman and Thames now both on 3 fouls.
2 key starters finding their ways into foul trouble is also Zion Collins for the Vulcans at 4, like you said. Foul trouble always an issue in any game. Whitehead with it now at the top of the key. He's going to go ahead and drive. The fadeaway jumper off the front rim, no good. Arnett fighting for the rebound. It gets tipped out, and it's going to go the other way in favor of the Yellow Jackets.
Even though that didn't go his way, it's such a great sight to see Arnett, who missed his entire regular freshman season last year, got redshirted, but it's been such a big spark off the bench and just showing so much grit, so much grind, and a ton of energy. And just fighting for everything and really injects this team with a well-needed presence.
Right there, Arnett, perfect timing as he was hearing you talk about him and made a great play on defense with the block. Leading down in transition is Keith Palick going to finish at the rim off the feed from Donald Whitehead. The full length of the court pass to Anthony Pittman. He's going to force it up, and somehow he draws the foul. That almost seemed like he wasn't even truthfully trying to get a bucket there, just trying to create some contact, and the referees give it to him as he'll find his way to the free throw line once again.
Pittman that time was just caught behind enemy lines. The entirety of the Vulcan team surrounded him, and he just fell down. The referees signaled that it was maybe some lower body contact, maybe a bit of a trip for Pittman, but that's what Coach Sang was just trying to get explained, because everyone in the arena thought that it was potentially a travel just because it looked like he fell right down. And when you're surrounded by that many players, it's hard to see what is going on in the inner workings around. But nonetheless, Pittman still able to draw the foul, get himself back to the line, and try to close the gap between the Vulcans and the Yellow Jackets.
Pittman now 7 for 10 from the free throw line tonight. Typically a 67% shooter, so he's pretty much right at that percentage, sitting around 70%. His second of 2 free throws is up, and it's good. So all of a sudden, West Virginia State cuts the lead down to 10.
24 points now for him, leading all scorers, and he's been the big offensive piece for the Yellow Jackets, and just someone that the Vulcans need to be able to slow down here in the final 9.5.
As McClurg and Pittman run into each other, both bodies on the floor. Jermaine Hall doesn't care as he knocks down the 3 and gives California their biggest lead of the night at 13. Now the turnover there, McClurg comes up with it. They're going to call a foul on Martinez, coming back the other way. And the Vulcans trying to build on their momentum as now they have a big lead and a timeout from head coach Brian Poore.
There was a very thin line there. I was kind of surprised that Coach Sankum didn't receive a technical error, because he was just yelling at that referee on the far side. He was trying to make his way back up into the play, and it's not something you see where both players fall down after the contact. It seems like both of them, and McClurg and Pittman, are very adept at drawing the contact, and also very great at initiating it and getting the calls to go their way. So I think that time the referees kind of just threw it up as a wash and just let the play go on. But you can't really complain for California because you got the 3 points regardless.
So pretty much what you're saying is they both sold that call to the referee.
I mean,
to the point that, there was no call.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to say it. But I think if you're California, no complaints, because Hall knocked down the 3. A quiet 18 points in this game for Jermaine Hall Jr., really stepping it up in a big way in this game for California. We talked about a bit of a down year scoring-wise compared to last year, but he's really just with a fine tool, he's able to just really hone in and his craft and get this game, his all-around game to the top level. And he's been lights out this game, and still able to have a great season as well, and trying to extend it further, especially into at least tomorrow and further on if it comes to it.
Jermaine Hall entered the PSAC tournament play with 27 or 28 games played, and his rebounding average was just around 6. He's brought that all the way up to 7 now as he continues to do a great job rebounding, and now he's at 7 rebounds in this game. So he does a little bit more than just score the basketball, but I'm sure they're happy to see him up to 18 points as well.
His passing is really what separates him. 90 assists on the season, three per game. It's not something you see out of what you would consider your wing / big man player in Hall, and it just shows his unselfishness and his ability. We've seen him time and time again with the no-look passes.
What a great cross there by KJ McClurg, and he finished with the left hand there on a floater. That just continues to show that he can do things that not everybody can do.
He is the magic man for a reason. Just for someone his size, he just has such a great bag and just able to get so much separation on his crossovers.
And that ball just sat on the rim for what felt like a whole minute before falling off into Jermaine Hall's hands for his 8th rebound of the night.
And going back to McClurg, it kind of just shows you as well where It's like that story about Larry Bird where he just does everything. He did put that one game with his entire left hand where it doesn't seem no matter what, he'll sparring you no matter what. It doesn't matter to him.
Jermaine Hall up to 20 points now for the Vulcans, and I believe I can't tell you exactly what the number is, but this second half he's been on one. I believe at halftime he was only at around 7 or 8 points. And now all of a sudden just really getting going here in the second half. The three-pointer there from Kamara as he just silences the crowd. It went from a 17-point game down to 14 now. California doing everything they can to add on to that. Breaking the press here. Jermaine Hall finds McClurg in the corner. McClurg on the drive. He looks and finds Arnett. Arnett under the basket. He finishes. And another great transition game there from the Vulcans.
So back to answer your question, Hall at halftime had 6 points, 14 points in this second half. And it's really helped separate the gap between California and West Virginia State as another airball three-pointer by the Yellow Jackets.
Kamara thought he could capitalize on that last three that he just connected on the last possession, but not able to do the same there as California looking to build on this lead. Their biggest lead of the night was up to 17 just under a minute ago. Looking to make it 18 or potentially 19 here with the 2 or 3-pointer. As Arnett on the drive, the great defense there from Anthony Pittman. As he comes up with the steal, gets it up the court. They're going to move it around as Kamara with it now. Kamara passes it up top. Antoine Arnett with the great play in transition. He loses his footing, and that ball goes out of bounds. That's going to take us to our third media timeout here in this second half. And California just continuing to build on their lead and playing really collectively this second half, and they find themselves up 78-62.
And just such a spread from the Vulcans. Just everyone has been able to get a piece of the basketball points here. And after going into that timeout, leaving the court for the Vulcans, is 3 players in double digits: 20 for Hall, 24 for McClurg, 13 for Whitehead, and 3 for Halleck, 6 for Arnett. But for the Yellow Jackets, 24 points for Pittman, and a combined 5 points from the other 4 players on the court. And it's really just been Pittman. And California, after the Yellow Jackets have had to go to the bench to get some of the reserve players, as their starters have accumulated a couple of fouls, have really been able to put it to them, and they've been able to just hold Pittman down enough. The rest of the team has not been able to beat them.
I mean, this second half has been all about California as they're outscoring West Virginia State by 10, 36-26, shooting almost 70% in this half. I mean, when you're doing things like that, it's going to be hard to beat you. And when you look on the other side, I mean, West Virginia State 9 for 15, 60%, and they still find themselves being outscored by 10.
It's a little bit frustrating at times as you see this Vulcan team, and it seems as though they have another gear that they can shift up to at any given moment. But it seems like in the games that they've really struggled in this year, the last 2 losses to Gannon and that game against Slippery Rock as well, it just seems like they were never able to get into that extra gear. And maybe that goes down to great defense on Gannon's part, or just a bad day in the office for the Vulcans' part. But regardless, it seems like in games like this where it's close for a while, where it can really swing other way with a couple of minutes of momentum, it seems like the Vulcans have really been able to shift it into overdrive and been able to just take this game over.
Mims with it now. He gets over to Kamara. Kamara's 3, no good. Donald Whitehead running in transition. He's going to throw it up to Bryson Lucas. What a slam from Lucas as he gets to the top of the backboard, catches it, and slams it home for 2.
First off, great job by Whitehead, able to keep his dribble alive there, surrounded by 3 people, able to just get through him. And I saw Lucas, who just gets a block as well. I'll finish that after this.
KJ McClure can't finish on the other end, but man, Bryson Lucas making a difference on all ends. What is going on here? Oh my goodness, the save from McClure goes back to the Yellow Jackets, but Bryson Lucas comes off the bench and just making 3 absolutely game-changing plays. Oh my goodness.
Everyone now has a chance to take a breath a little bit. But like I was saying, Whitehead did a great job at just getting away, not allowing the Yellow Jackets to get a hand on the ball. And I saw Lucas, as he was over by the bench, just signaling to throw it up there, and just a pinpoint pass from Whitehead. And just, like I said, the defensive versatility of Lucas is super, super vital. We talked to Coach last week. They talked about how he's probably the best defender in the PSAC, can guard 1 through 5 on any given night, and came into the game, got a block on the one possession, next time down the court, able to jump the pass and just able to keep it in bounds as well. But it's a great all-around play from Bryson Lucas.
I want to go back to your point on the importance of Donald Whitehead being able to keep his dribble. This is a guy that's played 34 minutes in this game and has yet to turn the ball over. Whitehead holds his head on being able to facilitate for his teammates and not get rid of the ball on offense. And I mean, he does a great job at that, and the 0 turnovers in this game is a kudos to, you know, his security of the ball and how he's able to manage the game himself. As Palak with it now on the wing, he's going to get it over to McClurg. McClurg going to force up the 3 off the back rim, no good, but the rebound by Lucas. He's going to get it out to Whitehead, and they're going to waste as much time as they can as they find themselves up 16.
And Lucas could have put it up, but smartly, just able to grab the offensive board, brings it back out, and has a chance to run off even more clock. The Vulcans with a 16-point lead. They don't care. They'll take all the time they need.
Arnett with the deep 2, no good, and the rebound getting tipped around. All of a sudden, Keith Palak comes up with it. And once again out to Whitehead, they're going to waste more time. They're getting a bit of a standing ovation here from the crowd.
And such an underrated part of the game. It's just fighting for these offensive boards, and 2 in a row for California, able to waste 40 seconds off the clock in just the last 2 possessions alone.
McClurg on the drive. He's going to finish with the right hand up and in. He's up to 26 on the night, and California with an 18-point lead, their largest of the evening. Cox with the trailing 3, and he does connect.
I want to go back a little bit talking about Whitehead. For being your starting point guard for most of the season, he only averages 1.2 turnovers a game, only 31 turnovers in 31 games. I mean, he really does a great job at securing the basketball and not allowing to give up extra possessions to the other team.
I remember there was a period of time earlier this year that I believe it was like 119 minutes that he went on the floor without a turnover. That's pretty much 3 straight full games without a turnover. So, I mean, that just goes ahead, and once again, we're going to continue to talk about his ball security and all he does for this team. And only a sophomore, too, so plenty of stuff, you know, plenty of career left for him. And also, one thing else I want to say about Whitehead while we're on the topic is his jump shot tonight has been effective, and I think it's able to be effective because of how high he gets himself off the ground. I mean, Whitehead's only 5'10". So a guard like that, especially in a game like this where the average height on the other side might be 6'4", 6'5", when you're able to raise yourself, he almost makes himself 6'2", 6'3", just with the fact that he gets so high off the ground in his jump shot. And, you know, he's been a big piece in this game tonight, and if they end up winning this game, he's going to be a big reason why.
He was 3rd in the PSAC in assist-to-turnover ratio on the year, 2.2 assists per turnover, which is huge from your point guard.
Palak goes up for the 2 on the left side of the basket. He's going to get some contact and find his way to the free throw line as the foul goes against number 8, Antonio Carter. I believe that's his first foul of the game. Palak at the free throw line, connects on the first. Palak is a 70% free throw shooter on the year, continuing to do everything he can. He's going into his senior season next year. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of role he takes on once Zion and Jermaine are out of the program.
Palak is such a great player on both ends of the court, and already a 1,000-point scorer in his career here at California. Really can see him flourishing in an offense like this.
A great 3-point jumper there from Kamara. But on to your point, I mean, how many times do you hear of a 1,000-point scorer for a school coming off the bench, especially a junior? I mean, it just goes to show. And right here, Arnett throwing it up. I mean, at this point, how are we even surprised? Bryson Lucas finishing at the other end with authority off the alley-oop from Palak or from Arnett, excuse me. And I mean, they just continue to run the transition to perfection.
Yeah, and Cox on the back end, he knew it was coming. He tried to camp out a little bit underneath to try to get into the path of Lucas, but it didn't matter. And I think Coach Sankum not happy because it looks like Lucas was trying to signal something go to bed, but it's going to lead us to a media timeout with 3:15 left to go.
All of a sudden, Lucas says go to bed. They score a 2-point jumper. Whitehead does finally turn it over. And now, I mean, they are still down 14, but still 3 minutes to play here. And actually, speaking of that, we should probably send it to commercial break. We will be right back here. Stay tuned. We are back for the final 3 minutes here in this first round contest between West Virginia State and California. California with a 14-point lead to this point. As Pittman with it now. 24 points for him. He hands it off to Martinez. Martinez finds Pittman on a backdoor cut, and he slams it home with some authority.
And that's a mismatch that you definitely would want if you're the Yellow Jackets. 6'5" Pittman up against the 5'10" Whitehead. Pittman able to just get some great position inside. And Whitehead just did his best, but really stood no chance. And it looks like Whitehead got trapped there in the corner. And smartly takes a timeout to get himself out of a jam.
I mean, like I said, all of a sudden it's only a 12-point game, and I know it is still a 12-point game, but 12 points can come just like that. I mean, all it takes is a couple threes, maybe just, you know, a steal or two here on defense, and they can cut that lead down. So California's really got to buckle down. Danny Sankum's got to make sure everybody's on the same page here, and they're ready to go for these last 3 minutes. They want to make sure that they punch their ticket into tomorrow's games.
Yeah, I think we saw him getting a bit frustrated with his team because it seemed like not that they gave up, but they weren't putting in as much effort. And like you talked about, it's only a 12-point game, and there's still 3 minutes left, still plenty of time, and that can just come to you just like that. So the Vulcans still need to be on their P's and Q's. They need to be able to make sure they can see this game out.
Both KJ McClurg and Donald Whitehead playing every minute of this game for the Vulcans to this point. They've yet to see the bench, and they're just doing everything they can to push their teams on to the next round. The savvy sophomores, I should call them, of Whitehead and McClurg. As Whitehead with it now, trying to waste a little bit of time off the clock. They're going to probably get going with 10 on the shot. As Whitehead with it, he's going to take it to the middle. Only 5 on the shot clock. He's going to have to find something quickly here. As Palak on the drive, the floater off the rim. No good, but he follows with the left-hand tip-in. And Palak, the big play there to increase the lead to 14.
Just some wonderful awareness, but West Virginia State just not great defending from them. I mean, Palak gets inside. You know where he's at, and no one for the Yellow Jackets boxing him out. Is able to just fall up on his own shot.
I mean, in this second half, the Yellow Jackets with only 6 rebounds in the whole second half in the last 18 minutes, as California's out-rebounding them 14-6. As Pittman right there with the jumper, and both teams shooting exceptionally well, as California 63% and West Virginia at 61. Right there, the foul, as Donald Whitehead's going to head to the line for a one-on-one. That'll be the 8th foul by the Yellow Jackets this half, which will send Whitehead to the line. One of the best free throw shooters on this team, looking to extend the lead.
And West Virginia State that time just not really running the press like you need to. When you trap like that, you need to make sure that the player can't turn the corner, use the baseline as a third defender. And that time, Whitehead was just able to sneak around the bend, but enforcing the Yellow Jackets to foul and send them to the line.
Whitehead connects on the first. California with 18 assists on the night compared to West Virginia State's 11. Really doing their best to move the ball around. Whitehead connects on both free throws. 90-76 in favor of California. Just under 2 minutes to play here in this contest. Is the drive there. Up and no good, and wow. Me and Nate talk about how that happens a bit too much here in the Convocation Center for what we would expect it to, but Khalil Kamara goes in for a putback. Somewhat, I mean, it was almost like a dunk, but I guess he was somewhat trying to lay it in and gets stuck in the side of the rim. And because of the possession error being in the Vulcans' favor, it'll come back the other way.
Yeah, I think with the way that he went about it, it doesn't seem like something you would see whenever you are going in for a dunk like that. Essentially, it just seems like such a weird spot to get it stuck, but crazy things happened. And it's down to the point where West Virginia State, they need to start fouling. They need the possessions. They can't let the Vulcans run out the time they need to get the ball. They need to go down to the other end and make threes, but the Vulcans just so smart and so disciplined with the ball, able to just not only run off a decent bit of the clock, but able to maintain possession and forcing the Yellow Jackets to foul and send your best free throw shooter, arguably, to the line, is able to knock down the first one.
Whitehead's second free throw attempt off the front rim and in. 16-point lead for the Vulcans with just over a minute and a half to play. Pittman with it. He almost tries to force a three, but he's going to get it over to Kamara instead, who then throws up the three. Just barely nicks the front rim. The save there by Pittman back to Kamara. He's going to lay it in for two. A great play by the Yellow Jackets as they're going to take a timeout following the bucket.
Still a 14-point game, and Coach Sankum shaking his head a bit disappointed because it seems like a little bit of the Vulcans, some of the Vulcans players on the court think that the game's over, and a 14-point lead in minute 26 is a pretty hefty one, but not something entirely out of the realm of possibility to come back from. So I think Coach Sankum wants the Vulcans locked in at 100% at all times, and it seems like a little bit down the stretch here they've switched off enough for his disliking. But if you're California, you're still pretty happy with the result. I don't know why I said pretty happy. You're definitely happy with how the game's gone so far, but still need to do your job and close it out.
California's held the lead for the last 35 minutes in this game, as the last lead for the Yellow Jackets was back when they were up 8-6 with 16.5 minutes to go in that first half. Just 3 minutes into the game was the last time they saw themselves in front. So even though this game has stayed competitive, it does feel like California has been dominating for the most part, as they've been able to keep themselves ahead. And now Jermaine Hall going to make his way to the line to add on to his impressive 20 points.
Yeah, and it's for a while the Yellow Jackets were able to make it a game. They were able to get back. They were able to close it up to 5 or less. But as we talked about, the Vulcans just have another gear. They have another level. And even though the Yellow Jackets this season 20-9, 14-6 in conference play, they've been a great team. I think the Vulcans have shown that they're a step above the Yellow Jackets on the year, at least in terms of talent, and they've really been able to make their mark. As Hall now with 22, the Vulcans with 94. Zion Collins checks back in for the last minute 15.
That's another kudos to this team. Zion Collins has not really been all here tonight, as he only up to 6 points, 2 for 7 from the floor, only been able to play 17 minutes. He's been in foul trouble for a lot of it, but I mean, this California's team still able to be as dominant as they are without their senior go-to guy. And I mean, that just proves and gives a kudos to this California team and how good they are and how good they can be.
Yeah, Collins, one of the ones where you typically see him in double digits in the scoring charts, but 4 out of the 5 players for California on the court with 10 or more points, and he's not one of them, is usually an odd sight. But like you said, that just goes to show you that there are 4, 5, 6, even 7 players on this Vulcans teams that can really go at you and give you at least a good 10 to 15 every single night. And so far tonight, it's been an all-around great team performance.
Whitehead now finds himself up to 19 points following the free throws. Antonio Carter gets it to Pittman. Pittman going to finish at the rim. You have to wonder if West Virginia State's going to continue to foul. I mean, we're now under a minute, 16-point lead. I mean, might be a bit more than they can chew, really, at this point, but it looks like they are going to back off a bit.
And for Pittman, it's a bit of a shame. A red-shirted senior this year out of Charleston, West Virginia, so more of a local lad, and went out on a heroic display, 30 points in the game for him, along with 5 boards, a block, and 2 steals. He's really done everything he could, but like we talked about, the Vulcans have proved to be just a different level to the Yellow Jackets here today, and looking forward to the next round game tomorrow.
Adding on to your point about Pittman, this is a guy that scored almost 2,000 points for this university. He's coming into the game, I believe it was 1,931 points, now somewhere around 960. So congratulations to him, but a bigger congratulations to the California Vulcans as the shot clock is turned off and they secure the win here in the NCAA tournament. Jermaine Hall and KJ McClurg bringing into each other's arms by a final score of 96-80. McClurg with 26, Jermaine with 22, Whitehead with 19. And we will see you guys tomorrow as California will take on the winner of our next matchup. Stay tuned for that as that tips off here at 7:30. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Andrew White and John Sape. We will see you tomorrow.